Well, good morning. I want to welcome you to ALDOT's press conference to talk about developments on the Birmingham Northern Beltline. By way of a quick review and perhaps to kind of recap where things have, a lot of things that have been said and probably will be said many more times. But the Northern Beltline is a 52-mile corridor that, when it is completed, will stretch from I-59 in northeast Jefferson County around into I-59 to the 459 interchange near Bessemer. The first portion, which we are here to talk about today, is a 3.4-mile highway from west of State Route 79 to east of State Route 75. The total Beltline project is expected to take about 30 years to build. When it is completed, according to the Federal Highway Administration estimates, the total cost will be about $4.7 billion. That probably needs to be clarified in today's dollars. Our estimates are about 3, give or take, just a little bit, 3 billion. The 4.7 takes into consideration inflation that is expected to occur during the construction period, and so that estimate is based on the actual dollars that will be spent at the actual time. So maybe that will clarify a little bit of that difference that seems to track us from time to time and discussion to discussion. The first phase of this project will address dirt and drainage only. The basing and paving will come after the stormwater management controls are in place. And in that regard, as you know, ALDOT filed a request for a permit from the Corps of Engineers to begin construction. And as we expected, I think as everyone expected, that generated a lot of comment. We've considered all of those comments very carefully. And I have to admit that we also have considered what I guess I would describe as the national environment and the skepticism that exists certainly within the environmental community and maybe somewhat broadly among the public with respect to large infrastructure projects, whether those projects be a road or a pipeline or any other type of infrastructure. And I think it behooves us to consider that environment as we at ALDOT try to move forward with a large project. So I think when you are able to review our response to the comments that were received in respect to the Corps permit request, and we expect to file those sometime within the next week, I believe you're going to find that ALDOT has made a strategic decision to go above and beyond what is required of us in building the Northern Beltline. And I know you can define required in multiple ways. I'm defining required as what we believe is legally required, and we've made a strategic decision to go above and beyond that, and I want to talk with you a little bit about what that means. First of all, we have employed the firm of AECOM to assist us and to help design stormwater management practices for this project. In addition to AECOM, we also have engaged 2 additional subcontractors with particular expertise in stormwater management. Those firms together and working with our engineers have beefed up in significant ways what our standard practices would be for erosion control. The first thing we're going to do, and it will be new to ALDOT, is we're going to engage those firms to hold training sessions for every construction firm involved in this project. Training sessions on stormwater management and on the enhanced practices we're putting into effect for this project. In general, there are 2 ways to treat stormwater: passive and active. Passive is simply where you retain or slow down the runoff. Active is where you actually pump and filter runoff. And on this project, we're going to employ both of those. We will incorporate enhanced stormwater protection features that will protect and we believe actually improve the quality of water in this watershed. This will include enhanced detention ponds to capture sediment and improve stormwater runoff control in the watershed. Another measure that we're employing will be level spreaders, which mitigate the impact of high velocity stormwater surface runoff. The project will also feature diversion ditches that will be designated to separate clean water from construction stormwater. In other words, folks, this will be the best designed highway project from the standpoint of stormwater management in the history of Alabama. But it has been determined that in order to implement these procedures, additional right-of-way will be needed. Before this decision was made, ALDOT had purchased approximately 345 acres from 101 landowners along this part of the corridor. The enhanced project construction stormwater controls will require us to purchase an additional 31 acres. This extra right-of-way will be purchased mostly from the surrounding landowners from whom we have already bought property. And I say mostly because I think there are a couple of exceptions to that rule. We are buying some property from folks we had not previously bought from. The right-of-way to be purchased has no structures, such as homes or businesses. It is only property. And I want you to understand that this is a decision that we took after a great deal of study and a great deal of analysis. We believe it's the right decision. We believe the enhanced procedures that we're employing is the right thing to do at this time. And we hope that you will understand that this is an example of our commitment to do this well. So I'm concluded my remarks, and I'll be happy to respond to questions.
Mr. Cooper, the watershed has been a big problem for Jefferson County in order to stay in compliance with this. I know this doesn't necessarily fall into the purview of the county, but can you tell me a little bit about what springboarded outside of these concerns that you guys decided that you needed to have this kind of project built in, or this kind of addition built into the project?
Well, I think it's fair to say that ALDOT's undergoing a lot of changes. I'm a change for ALDOT. I've only been there a little less than 2 years now. The rules have changed. The requirements have changed. And certainly the perception of those requirements has changed. I simply decided that we need to reflect that in the way we go about doing our work. And we need to be really sure that when we advocate for something, we can advocate for that in the context of knowing we're going to do it the right way.
The issue up in that area, will this cross over near the Center Point, Pinson Valley area on 79?
Actually, it starts in, I guess, what you would call part of the Pinson Valley area on Highway 75, okay. Probably northeast of Center Point by a fair distance, but I think you would still call that area the Pinson Valley area, yes.
Do we have a cost estimate of what the additional build is going to be?
For this additional right-of-way requirement, I don't have a specific estimate on that. We just haven't reached that degree of granularity yet in analyzing it. It will be meaningful.
Why are we starting that portion of the northern Beltline? Why there versus somewhere else?
Well, you've asked a question, the answer to which predates me. But at some point, a decision was made to start that, and I actually have to tell you that I wasn't there, and I stand here today and really don't know the answer to that question. When I came, that's just where we were.
Anything else?
Is this initiative a product of working with any of the environmental groups, such as Black Warrior Riverkeeper, the Colorado River Society, or is there anything that's come out of that has led to these decisions, or are these more proprietary on your own?
Well, I think a number of decisions along this corridor have been made pursuant to working with those groups. The acquisition of the additional right-of-way, maybe indirectly, but not directly. Directly, though, as we have designed plans for this and working particularly with the Colorado River Society, we have made changes in the plans. For example, we've crossed a number of creek crossings with bridges as opposed to culverts, because those are considered more environmentally friendly. We have made some changes in slope and things of this nature which tend to affect particularly the velocity of runoff. And it probably is true that those discussions led us to consider some of the additional detention.
Mr. Cooper, have any private citizens expressed any kind of complaints about this environmental issue, or has it strictly been organizations like Blackwater Riverkeeper and the Cahaba River Society?
It's probably a little bit of an unfair question, don't you think? Because all those groups are made up of private citizens. So as to whether individual citizens have, Clearly they have. Now, whether those citizens are affiliated in one way or another with the group, in some cases we know they are, in other cases we don't know. They could be, but we just don't know. But nevertheless, comments have been made. Any other questions?
Do we have a target date to get this work started and complete this part of the project?
Well, we have to move through the core permit process. That will take some time. Our goal is to let this contract to construction, this project to construction sometime in the first half of next year.
Thanks, sir.
Anything else?
Do you know what the second or third sections are going to be built in, or?
I think we will move from the ends of this project, and so there is one segment that moves, I believe it's only one, or is it two? Two segments to the east. They're all laid out up here on the board. We can discuss them. But there are two segments to the east, and we will move on those, and then we will start to move to the west to get around to I-65, which is the portion of the corridor that has been cleared for construction.
There's 2 east and 2 west.
2 east and 2 west.
Will you continue to purchase more right-of-way on those sections post-construction?
We will. We've got plan development to do, though, first, before we'll know exactly what that right-of-way is. We do have a number of people who request that we purchase right-of-way in those segments because of what they consider hardship. And in some cases, relatively isolated, we've been able to do that. But I have a number of people who write and call me fairly regularly requesting us to move forward with acquiring property, but the corridor is not specifically laid out to the degree that we would like to be acquiring right-of-way. We need detailed plans before we actually do that. Anything else? Well, we thank you for coming. We'll be around a while if you have more questions, and we'll be happy to try to address them. Thank you.